comes to whitetail hunting, I absolutely love it. I love hunting the pre-rut. I love hunting the rut, and probably my favorite, well, that's late season. And the reason why, I think it's because of the challenge of it. When you hunt late season, it is difficult. It is not something everybody wants to do, and it's not something everybody can do because it is literally so cold that it can be awful to be out there. But you know what? The deer are out there, and sometimes you can have the best hunt you could have ever imagined if you put in a little time, tough it out through the cold, and get out there.
I'm out here in South Dakota, and this is literally the best hunting you've ever seen. Last year I got right in the deer. Today, I bet we've had, I don't know how many hundreds come through. It is really windy. We've got gusts probably 40, 50 miles an hour. So I need those deer to be close. Luckily, I've got one trail that's super close, gonna be a 20-yard shot. They stop there, and then a lot of them run right after that. So my goal is to shoot them right when they get there. Hopefully I can get a nice buck that turns broadside. So far we've had tons of does. Small bucks come through. None of the big ones are through yet. They're still way out there, but it looks like tonight we're in the exact right place, so it is going to get good. We've got about an hour left, and this is just awesome.
One of the things that you really are looking at late season is patterning those deer out. They're gonna do the same type of thing, usually day in and day out. Now the crazy part is, well, a lot of these deer this year, Cody said, well, they're spending time out in the wide open fields, which is very difficult to get close to, but by evening, they're kind of moving in through some of the machinery in one of his old farmyards. And I thought, perfect, let's get a blind up in there. We can just sit it out, and this could be awesome. It was unbelievable. We had a trail of deer coming in front of us, one after another. But it was an incredible experience to be that close to so many bucks. The hard part is, well, for me, it's judging the age of these deer. Cody only wants 4.5-year-old deer shot. In late season, it can be tough because some of those big bucks, well, they don't look all that big because they're so run down from the rut. So it's not always easy to tell just on body size. So what I like to do, I want to err on the side of, yes, that's an old deer. I had a nice long tine buck come through about 40, 50 yards. I just couldn't tell. Beautiful deer, absolutely a shooter, but I wasn't sure how old he was. So again, I want to err on the side of, you know what, I'm gonna let him walk. We're gonna review the footage and make a decision from there. So that first evening, I let a nice buck walk through. But you know what, it was awesome. I had so much fun, and it truly is amazing to be that close to so many whitetails.
Sportsmen's Alliance, our heritage, our fight, protecting hunting from coast to coast.
Trapping is an important wildlife management tool, and just as importantly, when animal rights organizations are able to stop or restrict it, they use those same arguments to come after mainstream hunting. The Sportsmen's Alliance has protected trappers in Maine in 2010 and 2014 in court cases that could have been used to stop hunting and even fishing in the future. Just another fun fact showing you how sportsmen and women are helping make a difference. When it gets really cold out, a lot of times whitetails, especially in South Dakota, seem to all group up together. And that can be good and it can be bad. The hard part is getting in close to them. The good part is when you get in close, you literally have a parade coming by you. And I think that's one of the things that I like, that the rewards are so great when you finally get everything right. It's actually a feeling you cannot believe. Some of my best days of my entire life are whitetail hunting in South Dakota, and I never even let an arrow go. I would sit out there, and knowing you've done everything right, it's absolutely incredible. So this year I was back in East River, South Dakota at Cody Warren's place, and I was after those late season whitetails. Now I used to always come during the rut. I'd put out decoys, you'd watch them bucks just posture to your decoy. Absolutely awesome. But I found that I even enjoy it more coming that week between Christmas and New Year's. Nobody else is around. Everybody's kind of done hunting and has given up. Not me. I'm out there putting in my time, and I absolutely love it.
Well, we're back at it again today. I was hoping for less windy conditions, but we've got just as strong as winds. We've got the same direction though, so I'm hoping the deer will do very similar things. Just hopefully the bigger bucks will come up a little bit earlier. Yesterday we sat here, we had so many does come through, but unfortunately the big bucks just never made it before dark. So I'm hoping tonight that maybe as it gets closer to sunset, these winds will lay down and the deer will come through. We've had this blind here now a few days, so I'm hoping the deer are nice and used to it. We've got a great trail, probably 14, 15 yards. That's where I want them to come, all set up for that. We also have another trail to our side. A lot of these deer are about 40, 50 yards and then going through just a fence gap. But you never know, maybe they come a little closer tonight, but I'm glad we're in a blind. It is freezing outside, plenty cold in here, and hopefully we can make it happen tonight.
When it comes to hunting, yeah, I love big whitetails, but for me, it's the memories. It's knowing how everything that you put in, all your hard work, to see that come together. And honestly, one of the best memories, well, that happened last year right over a decoy. He takes off, and to sit there for that long in the morning, waiting for it to all come through, I was beyond ecstatic. I was so happy. An absolute giant. I was shaking so bad. I could barely even get to full draw this time, but it looked like it went in right behind his shoulder. He took off. I thought he was gonna tip over right here, but my guess is he's just right in this tree line. Just a beautiful buck. Came right into the decoy. Awesome. Look at the size of these tines. What a beautiful buck. I'm pretty sure his brow tines, almost everything is about the same length. Just a beautiful deer.
This segment was brought to you by Boss Buck. For the most user-friendly and dependable feeder on the market, choose Boss Buck feeders. Now you're getting serious. Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by hard-hitting Easton Arrows, Golden Triangle Whitetail, Winchester, the American legend, National Deer Alliance, HHA Sports, the leader in single pin technology, Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry Technology Plus. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. Rage Broadheads, leading the evolution in lethal technology. Convergent Hunting Solutions, where experience, innovation, and passion meet. Sportsmen's Alliance, protecting hunting from coast to coast. Engel Coolers, the original high-performance cooler company. And Moose Utility Division, your leader in ATV, UTV accessories.
We just wrapped up a wonderful afternoon in South Dakota. It has been amazing out here. What can I say? I love late season, so the more and more deer that come through, the better our chances of a big buck coming within bow range. Biggest difficulty here, it's the wind. We've got 40, 50 mile an hour winds. You need to keep those shots in close. I don't care how big the buck is or how much I'm drooling, you just gotta let them walk when they're that far, because even though I'm shooting a very thin diameter arrow, you can't guess what it's gonna do. If it gusts a big gust at that time, it may blow your arrow even more than what you think, and it's not worth wounding a deer out here. As much as I'd like to shoot them, at least I can sit back and film them and drool all over.
Late season hunting, it's tough, but you want to know a way to make it even tougher? Do it as a self-filmed hunt. Last year I went out there and it was cold. It was between Christmas and New Year's, and I didn't want to ask somebody to come out with me, so I went on my own.
Well, I just walked in probably close to a mile. It's freezing outside, but I'm just steaming right now. So I got into my blind now. This is a hay bale blind set up right on a stock dam. Now this is actually a dam that I've hunted early season. The deer are here early season watering. Late season, they're all wintering. There's a ton of cut corn, just sunflower stubble out there. They're out in that bedding, and this stock dam is just loaded up with tracks. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be awesome. It's a really nice little cozy blind here. It's probably about 0 or a little below this morning. I think the thermometer said a couple degrees below, so nice cool morning, and it's late season, so we are going to see a ton of deer.
I was carrying tripods, all the camera gear. It was below 0. It was freezing conditions. I was belly crawling into blinds trying to make sure I didn't get busted, and I sat and I sat and I sat in the cold, and I had more bucks around me than on any hunt in my entire life. I was literally covered up in deer, but I was cold and I was filming myself, and it was tough. I had shooters every direction, but I couldn't get the camera situated, my bow drawn. So you know what I decided? I decided I could just kill a buck off camera. No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to film them, and I wanted to try to make it happen. And I worked hard, and I put in every ounce of effort I had, but it didn't work out. But you know what that did? It drove me even more coming back the next year. And this year, I had a plan, and I had someone else helping me film.
This is one of those hunts where patience is going to be key. You cannot get too pushy. You gotta wait for the right shot. And as hard as it's gonna be, I know we're gonna see a lot of deer. We just have to wait for the right deer at the right time, at the right distance. So I'm ready for the wait, and I know it's gonna be fun.
Tip of the week is brought to you by HHA Sports, the world's #1 selling single pin adjustable bow sight.
I absolutely love hunting whitetails from a ground blind. You're eye level with the deer, you've got great shot opportunities, and it can be amazing when you're out decoying them in. But one of the things that you really need to keep in mind is scent control when you're on the ground. You've got big, mature whitetails 15, 18, 20 yards from you, so now is more important than ever to make sure that you're spraying all your gear down before you ever head out. This includes your release, your clothing, your backpack, and also your ground blind. One of the things a lot of people forget is they put up a ground blind and they wonder why deer always notice that the ground blind is there. First, you need to make sure that you're really taking a lot of time to blend that ground blind in and brush it in. Once you've got it all brushed in, I like to take a bottle of Scent Killer Gold and thoroughly spray down that entire blind. This way you don't have any of that smell from the blind, and also do your chairs as well. It can make a big difference. And the last thing I like to do, well, if you're hunting during the rut, I like to put a decoy out in front of my blind. What that decoy does is take all the deer's attention and focus it right to the decoy. With that said, you need to make sure you're also spraying your decoy down and using attractant scents as well. I like to hang key wicks around the area and also put some scent right at the decoy's hocks. When you combine all these things together, you can find great success out hunting out of a ground blind for whitetails and hopefully have some deer right in close.
Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by Winchester, the American legend. Matthews Archery. Field and Stream, where traditions begin. ScoutLookWeather.com. Download the free ScoutLook hunting app for your smartphone. Rangemaster Trailers. Luxury gone rugged. Master Hand Milling. Revolutionizing the range. Reinhardt, the best archery targets in the world. Garmin, enhance your outdoor adventures. Winchester, the American legend. S4 Gear. SCI, first for hunters. And Boss Buck, for the most user-friendly and dependable feeder on the market. Now you're getting serious. This segment was brought to you by SCI, protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation. SCI is first for hunters, but first can't stay first without you. Join like your way of life depends on it.
After putting in the time, sitting in that same blind day after day, well, you start to question, am I doing something wrong? We're watching all these deer out in the field, and I'm talking so many deer, hundreds and hundreds of deer. And it takes them a while to get to where I was, but the hard part is you couldn't necessarily move out to where they were, or you'd stick out too much. So I decided we've made the right decision. We're just gonna stick it out, and hopefully time will tell. Well, as we were waiting, we saw this big old buck. Now I'm talking a buck that's got, you can see everything about him is old. And I sent Cody a picture and he said, oh, that's the oldest buck we have. We call him the bully buck. He is old, he is mean, he kicks every deer's butt around there. If you get a chance at him, take him. So I thought, yes, that's the deer I want. And that's the buck we started targeting. Finally, I saw that big old buck coming our way, and I was getting so excited. This is a beautiful deer, and he's making his way to us, and I thought everything's gonna work out right. We got the window down, the other deer had gone through, and as he got close, well, I was able to get to full draw. It looked really good, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is so awesome. I have put 2 years into late season hunting, and finally I made it happen. It looked like he went down in the field, and the crazy part is, it looked like a couple other deer came over and started beating him up while he was hurt. So it kind of tells you what kind of a jerk he was. But we went over, we waited till it got dark, and this was on New Year's Eve. This was the last day of the season, and it was such a feeling of accomplishment. Lots of people are out with their friends and family having fun. I was in the deer stand and walking up on this buck with those big old bases. It was such a feeling of accomplishment. Look at the mass on this. Wow. He's even more massive in person. When he came, I thought, this thing is a giant.
He's been beating everybody up for I don't know how many years.
What a beautiful deer. You know, late season, it's a tough hunt. You've got rough weather. It takes a lot of mental toughness to make it work, but when you do make it work, that feeling of accomplishment, that's worth everything.
This segment was brought to you by Convergent Hunting Solutions. Try their electronic game calls today, featuring Bluetooth technology to work right with your smartphone.